Hello friends, and welcome to the Forgotten Past. On this channel, you'll explore untold stories, lost events, ancient discoveries, and hidden secrets from across history. Let's view the video. History often remembers kings and queens for their power, scandals, or brutal reigns. But hidden beneath the grand tales are forgotten figures, like Mary Tudor, the little princess married at 6, widowed at 10, and nearly erased from England's royal memory. This is her story. Mary Tudor was born on March 18, 1496, at Richmond Palace, the youngest surviving daughter of King Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. Her birth united two rival families, the houses of York and Lancaster, ending decades of civil war known as the Wars of the Roses. From the moment of her birth, Mary's life was tied to politics. As a princess, her future was never her own. In an age where royal women were pawns in the game of alliances, Mary's value lay not in her innocence but in her ability to secure England's future. England had long awaited a strong male heir, yet Mary's brother, Henry, was still young. As the only surviving royal daughter, Mary became a symbol of stability and a powerful bargaining tool for foreign monarchs seeking influence over England's rising Tudor dynasty. Mary's mother, Elizabeth of York, had experienced similar political pressures. But Mary also inherited a royal Spanish bloodline from her maternal grandmother, Isabella of Castile. This prestigious connection elevated Mary's importance in European royal negotiations, especially as England eyed stronger alliances. Educated at court, Mary was known for her beauty and intelligence. Described as fair-haired, graceful, and quick-witted, she quickly became admired throughout Europe. But behind the courtly smiles, her destiny as a political bride was already being carefully crafted by powerful men. As Mary grew, so did her significance. Foreign ambassadors spoke of her as a desirable match for princes and kings. Yet few could have imagined that by the age of 6, this beloved English princess would be sent across the sea to become a child queen. In the tangled web of European politics, royal children were bargaining chips, and Mary Tudor was no exception. Her destiny was sealed not by choice but by treaties and power plays. At just 6 years old, she became England's tool for peace with France. The year was 1514, and England sought stability after years of tension with its ancient rival, France. King Henry VIII, Mary's brother, saw an opportunity to secure peace through marriage. The chosen groom was none other than the aging French king, Louis XII. Mary, barely old enough to read, suddenly found herself betrothed to a man nearly 34 years her senior. For Henry VIII, the marriage was a strategic victory. For Mary, it was a bewildering entry into the harsh reality of royal politics. The engagement was celebrated in grand ceremonies. Nobles toasted the alliance, while portraits of Mary and Louis were exchanged. Behind the glittering pageantry, whispers of disapproval spread. Many saw the marriage as a grotesque mismatch between innocence and age. King Louis XII, desperate for an heir to continue the Valois dynasty, agreed eagerly. Despite his failing health, he believed that young Mary could fulfill this role. To him, she was not a child, but France's last hope for royal succession. On October 9, 1514, the wedding took place in Abbeville, France. Mary, dressed in gold and silk, barely comprehended her role. The lavish ceremony marked not love, but an uneasy alliance, one where a child was crowned queen to appease European powers. Behind the grand celebrations, Mary's fate as a child bride was sealed. At just 6, she had been transformed from England's little princess into France's young queen, a pawn in a centuries-old rivalry where her youth mattered less than the peace she symbolized. Mary Tudor's arrival in France was met with splendor and uncertainty. Though crowned as queen, she was still a child, unfamiliar with courtly intrigues. The grand palaces, foreign customs, and whispered politics were overwhelming for a girl barely old enough to comprehend her fate. The French court was a dazzling display of power and excess. Mary, with her fair English looks, quickly became a fascination among courtiers. But beneath the silks and jewels, she remained isolated, surrounded by strangers, navigating a world far beyond her years. As queen consort, Mary held status but little influence. Her primary purpose was to produce an heir for the aging King Louis XII. The weight of expectation was immense for a 10-year-old. Thrust into an adult world shaped by power and legacy. King Louis XII's health, already fragile, declined rapidly. Despite grand hopes for the union, the old king's body failed him. Within 3 months of marriage, the French monarch fell gravely ill, leaving Mary a widowed queen before reaching her 11th birthday. The king's death on January 1, 1515, sent shockwaves through Europe. France mourned its ruler, but Mary's future hung in uncertainty. Widowed at 10, she was vulnerable, a foreign child alone in a politically hostile environment with no clear protector. Mary's position was precarious. Though she was Queen Dowager, French politics moved swiftly. The new king, Francis I, eyed her dowry and royal ties, while England's court debated her fate. Mary's childhood was gone. Now, survival required caution and diplomacy. Despite her noble title, Mary Tudor was forgotten in the grand schemes of kings. Alone in a foreign land, widowed at 10, her story became a tragic footnote in the chronicles of Europe, another pawn discarded once her usefulness to power faded. Mary Tudor's return to England was overshadowed by uncertainty. As a young widowed queen, her future remained entangled in royal ambition. Her brother, King Henry VIII, expected to use her once more as a political pawn to secure England's alliances. But Mary's heart defied the crown. During her time in France, she had grown close to Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk. Handsome, charming, and a trusted friend of Henry VIII, Brandon had captured Mary's affections, sparking whispers of forbidden love. The prospect of marrying for love, not politics, was rare among royals. Yet Mary was determined. She feared being forced into another unwanted match. Against all courtly expectations, she and Brandon plotted to wed without the king's approval. Their opportunity arose while still in France. In February 1515, Mary and Charles Brandon secretly married in Paris. It was a bold, dangerous act. Defying Henry VIII's authority risked royal wrath and potential imprisonment for both of them. When news of the secret union reached England, the court erupted in scandal. Henry VIII, furious at their defiance, saw the marriage as a betrayal. Even trusted advisors urged punishment for Brandon, warning it undermined the king's political strategies. Mary's influence softened her brother's fury. Despite his anger, Henry VIII valued his sister and Brandon's loyalty. To avoid permanent disgrace, Brandon was heavily fined, and the couple was eventually pardoned. But the scandal left lasting marks on court politics. Mary Tudor's secret marriage was more than defiance, it was a rare triumph of love over duty. For once, she had seized control of her fate, carving a path beyond the suffocating chains of royal expectation that had haunted her young life. After the scandal of her secret marriage, Mary Tudor withdrew from the political spotlight. Though still a royal, her days of being traded for alliances were over. She and Charles Brandon settled into a quieter life away from the relentless demands of European courts. Their home at Westhorpe Hall in Suffolk became a sanctuary. Far from royal intrigues, Mary focused on her family, raising their children and embracing a domestic life that had long eluded her. It was here she experienced peace unknown during her youth. Though distanced from politics, Mary remained close to the English court. Her royal status and sharp mind made her an influential figure, even without an official role. She often visited court, maintaining ties with her brother, King Henry VIII. Tensions rose, however, when Henry's infatuation with Anne Boleyn threatened to upend England. Like many nobles, Mary disapproved of Anne's influence and the king's decision to cast aside Catherine of Aragon, their Spanish-born sister-in-law and Mary's former stepmother. Mary's loyalty to Catherine deepened the rift with Henry. She saw Anne Boleyn as a symbol of instability, fearing the consequences for the Tudor dynasty. But despite their disagreements, Mary's royal blood still protected her from complete disgrace. As the years passed, Mary's health declined. The burdens of court scandals, political stress, and personal losses took their toll. By 1533, the vibrant princess once adored across Europe was frail, her life slipping away far from the thrones that once shaped her fate. Mary Tudor died on June 25, 1533, aged just 37. Overshadowed by louder Tudor dramas, her story faded into obscurity. Yet her quiet defiance and pursuit of love left an enduring mark, a royal who, for once, chose her heart over her crown. History often confuses Mary Tudor with her infamous niece, Mary I, known as Bloody Mary. But Mary Tudor, Queen of France, lived a different tale, one of political sacrifice, quiet defiance, and a forgotten place in England's royal chronicles. Her legacy deserves clarity. Unlike her niece, Mary Tudor never ruled England. Yet her brief time as Queen of France and her daring secret marriage made her one of Tudor history's most fascinating, yet overshadowed, figures. Her story reflects the human cost of royal ambition. Her childhood was traded for treaties, her innocence sold for peace between England and France. At just 6, she was married off to an aging king. At 10, she was a widowed queen. Her youth was lost to the relentless demands of power. But Mary's courage shone when she defied her brother, King Henry VIII, and married for love. In a world where royal women were chess pieces, she carved her own path, risking scandal to escape a life dictated entirely by politics. Though overshadowed by Henry's larger-than-life legacy and Anne Boleyn's infamous downfall, Mary's quiet defiance marked an early stand against the merciless traditions of arranged royal unions. Her love for Charles Brandon became a rare Tudor story of personal victory. Yet after her death, Mary faded into the margins of history. Unlike the notorious queens who followed, her tale was buried beneath scandal, bloodshed, and the dramatic power struggles that defined the Tudor dynasty's legacy in the centuries that followed. Today, historians and storytellers revive her memory. Mary Tudor's life may have been shaped by thrones and treaties, but her heart, and her defiance, ensured she would never be entirely forgotten. The little princess, widowed at 10, finally reclaims her rightful place in history. Thanks for watching The Forgotten Past. If you enjoyed the journey, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a hidden story or untold truth. New discoveries await. See you in the next video.